streaming, and I will let you guys know when we're live. And we're here.
I got a notification. Say Wolf 1 is now live.
Say Wolf 1 is now live? No way. What's... Oh, sorry. I got a little distracted there for a minute. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to the Onehitpowerup.com LiveCast. I'm here with my partners in crime, Steve from Mr. Xlight and Chris from Last Life Productions. Welcome, guys. What is going on? Hello.
Hi. I'm great. How are you?
I'm good, man. Where's Chris?
I'm just lucky to be here.
He was lurking this entire bloody time. It's just like him.
Just like me.
Just like you. So, welcome to the livecast, guys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Thank you very much. Welcome.
Well, you're streaming it too. I'm just kind of taking over. Yeah.
You're being super host.
Yeah, super host. But yeah, it's
Uber host.
Technically, we're co-hosting. It's not just my live stream. Okay, it's just on my channel.
Speaking of Uber, Ray, please drop the joke.
Okay. So I was telling Chris the other day, right, that I tried Uber for the first time.
Oh yeah.
And so I got in, and we got horribly lost. And it turns out my driver was Ugandan. Oh, he did not know the way.
Oh god. Oh, I fell for it.
And
that's my topic.
And that is the best use of that joke you will find anywhere.
That's probably the best use I've heard of it so far. So far. So, welcome, Alrao. Welcome. There you go. You have a little preview of some topics we're going to go through there. We shall approach at some point. I would like to ask briefly, Ray, how is your life treating you? Is it good? Is it okay?
It's all right.
It's okay. Chris, how is your life treating you?
Like a treat.
Like a treat.
Absolutely bloody fantastic.
Like a treat. Mine's not too bad either. It's not too bad. It's not too bad. It could be better, it could be worse, but isn't that the way of everything?
Yeah, I guess. It could be raining.
It could be
I could be outside. It could be raining.
Right.
I could be covered in honey and have a mosquito swarm around me.
Right.
Not that makes any sense. I
don't know. You've lost me, but that's okay. That's okay. Shall we push on and get a topic on and go?
Let's throw a. What's our first topic of the day, Steve?
The first one that we want to hear is one that I know is going to be close to your heart, and I know it wasn't discussed before this stream. I don't think it was anyway. But it was the new in Metal Gear. The new Metal Gear Survive not only is an absolutely dire excuse for a game, but in order for it to get a new character save slot, you have to pay them $10.
Bruh. Okay.
And
so you're wanting my.
I know you're a
opinion.
Metal Gear fan, okay? I know you like Metal Gear, and I'd like to hear. Because I'm not exactly a Metal Gear fan. I'm not a huge fan, but I do like it. But unfortunately, I don't understand why they do something like that.
I want to talk about the fact that even if you're not a Metal Gear fan, even if you don't particularly like Kojima's games, like most people, even if you don't like his games, can agree that he is, like, most people like him as a developer.
Mm-hmm.
So I think my biggest problem is that Konami basically sat around in a boardroom, right? And
right.
they're all sitting there, and I guess they approached after Kojima left. They approached their board meeting, right? And one of them stood up and said, "Hey, you know what? How do we continue the Metal Gear Solid series, or the Metal Gear series after Kojima's gone? What do we do?" And the main dude stood up and said, "Motherfucking zombies. That's how." And then you hear villainous laughter across the room. It's like a slow zoom out of the entire Konami building, like a fucking lightning strike. I don't know, dude. I feel like I feel like adding like, don't get me wrong, I like a good zombie game. I do. Okay, I was of a ripe young age of like 5 when I played Resident Evil for the first time, and I was like, oh my god, this is the greatest thing ever. I was like, I'm scared. And well, actually at 4 I disagree. I was actually too scared to play the game. But as I grew older, okay, I grew up with Resident Evil. I grew up with you know, the zombie trope.
Yeah.
And I enjoy a good zombie game. But taking a game and taking all of the elements out of it that made it fun, the stealth, the smart AI, that's what Metal Gear thrives on. That's what it's about. I mean, you're outsmarting the enemy. When you take a stick and you're poking zombies through a fucking chain link fence, you're not outsmarting the AI anymore. That's not what... It takes away the entire soul of what Metal Gear was built on. I don't know.
Entirely.
That's what I feel. And as far as microtransactions, dude, we've already discussed this. I feel like this is just Konami's late entrance into the game. I mean, they're basically seeing EA do it, and they're seeing Ubisoft do it, and they're just like, "Oh, that's the next step. That's where we need to go with our business," which is bullshit, you know, in my opinion. But that's where they're going. So. I don't know if I can rant anymore. I
think all that's left now is in 6 months' time they'll probably release a pachinko machine, Metal Gear Survive.
Holy God!
What was it? Capcom that did that? Was it Capcom that did that?
Dude,
like,
it was still Konami, because they did a Silent Hill 1, and then they did. Dude, I'm sure you saw the trailers for gorgeous remastered looking Metal Gear Solid 3. People were going off their freaking nuts about how sexy the pre-rendered cutscenes looked for Metal Gear Solid 3. And then like 30 seconds into this trailer that Konami released, they're like, check out our new pachinko machines.
No, that was such a joke, dude. That was such a fucking joke when it happened. It seems like Capcom did something similar with Resident Evil 4, but I'm having trouble putting my finger on it.
Yeah, there was that. There was a Resident Evil game came out a little bit ago that was extremely bad.
Yeah,
extremely bad. But
you're thinking of Resident Evil 6, or as I like to call it, Resident Evil Giraffe Blowjob.
Why?
Giraffe Blowjob.
Because if you actually go and look at the logo for the way they've done the 6, it looks like someone's giving a giraffe a blowjob.
That's a lot. That's a lot of throat, bro.
Yeah.
I don't.
Are the sound levels okay, Chris? Just check now. Can you just check for me? Are they a bit better?
Let me give a listen.
I think I've sorted it.
So
I don't know why something got switched around. I don't know what it was. I don't know why, but something got switched around in OBS, and I had 4 audio inputs, and
yes, my sources tell me all is sounding great and well.
So I apologize for that. I had four audios. So the way I see it is, I'm a very cynical person. I don't want to sit and tell you that like I've been playing games for God knows how long, and I've seen the wake of this and the wake of that. It's not about that. I can see through certain business schemes. I can see the business side of things a lot more. And games like this are just cash cows. And by that I mean it's a money grabbing opportunity to get funds for the next game. That's all it is.
Completely. It's like it's like I was saying. And jokes aside, dude. Like they were sitting in the boardroom and they were like, you know what? Zombies are popular with the masses right now. That's what's popular. So you know what we're gonna do? Survival games are popular. I mean, they probably looked at games that are like way better in quality, like PUBG and other games of that nature, and they said, well, survival games, you know. And then they looked at zombie games, and they're like, well, zombie games are popular too. So let's add survival zombie feel to it and slapped the Metal Gear title on it. And let's be honest, dude. Let's be honest with ourselves. If Metal Gear was not in the name, nobody would be talking about this game right now. Nobody.
No.
It would have fallen off the face of the planet by now.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, so for me, the problem lies in the amount of shameless cash grabbing that they've done. So the way I'm led to believe is that the game uses character slot, save slot, and you have one character, one save slot. That's it. If you don't, if you haven't got enough, like, if you want a new character slot, then you've had it, because you've got to pay them $10.
Well, that sounds a lot like an MMO RPG style.
It's a bit shady, if you ask me.
Yeah.
I don't like it. I don't like it when they work like that.
I don't like it. I don't like it when they charge you for a game. And I mean, Konami obviously knew what they were doing, because they didn't charge full price. They charged they're charging $40 for the game. Roughly.
Yeah.
I don't know how much that is in pounds.
It's definitely not. It's definitely not a £25 game.
But they knew what they were doing, because they didn't release it, full price. So they knew that it wouldn't go over well with the masses. So they were like, "Oh, well, we'll drop the price tag $20." So they knew it wasn't like a AAA quality when they released it, in my opinion. So they knew what they were doing, and that's one of the things that really does. I don't know. It just doesn't go over well for me.
And something I would just like to point out about the whole thing, and it's been said several times. I'm just going to reiterate it, so we're all on the same page. Is like a lot of people have said, this could have been Konami's chance to prove themselves that they don't need Kojima. This could have been them taking.
But they face planted.
Yeah.
Basically, yes. Like, they could have literally made the same game, and literally they could have made Metal Gear Solid 5 again with just a new story, and it would have been fun. It would have been perfect.
Yeah.
And they still face planted.
They face planted. And not only that, but that's another thing I want to talk about. Metal Gear Survive is lazy. When I watched somebody, I didn't get to play the beta myself, but I watched some videos of people playing the beta for Metal Gear Survive.
Yeah.
And the first thing I noticed is these are all assets from Metal Gear Solid 5.
Yep.
There are no new assets, bro. So they basically took the Africa map from Metal Gear Solid 5, dropped some junk on it, and called it a post-apocalyptic wasteland. I mean, come on, dude.
It's reused assets. The only new assets really in it would be the zombies, really.
And the junk.
Wait. I just got a bit triggered. Konami calling Africa a post-apocalyptic wasteland. What?
Aye, bro.
I'm going to be sending them a strongly worded letter in the morning. Just you wait.
Yeah. It'll go in the rest of the junk mail.
So, but
in the rest of the fan mail. Sorry.
We're all agreed that it's generally a bad thing. That game is a bad thing for all of us. What it says to me, on a personal note, it is that in every given publisher, there's a group of suits sat around at a big, large table, drinking drinks and eating biscuits, that think that we are literally stuck to the bottom of their fucking shoe. They think we're stupid cash whales that are there nothing more than to put fuel in their fast cars.
You know what? Just one final point for me, because what you said really brought that home for me. What really got me the most about the whole Kojima Konami situation, because this is where this all started, right? I mean, we can trace this back to where Kojima and Konami had their split.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
So what and we don't know the details, But what gets me is that this was obviously, from my perspective, from what I can see and from what I understand, this was obviously a case of an individual, a well-liked individual, somebody that somebody that people respect, as I said before, in Kojima, as a game developer, going up against a multi-million-dollar corporation. And what breaks my heart to about this game the most is that Kojima lost. I mean, he lost that battle.
Yeah, he did. Yeah, big time.
And this game is proof of that, dude. It's proof that they don't really know what the fuck they're doing. They wanted to go in a direction, in a creative direction that he did not want to go in. And
But then Kojima has his faults as well, which I
oh
think
yeah,
is
no, by no
for
means
another live stream in its own. But
by no means is he by no means is he a perfect person, bro. I mean, by no means. But I still
he has a vision. He has incredible vision, though, and
I have way more respect for him than I do for Konami at this point.
Yeah. I'm with that.
But just to add to the whole Kojima thing, and I've said this before, but there is a really dark and sadistic part of me that really wants Death Stranding to be terrible.
Yeah,
just to start the
don't, because that's like them saying they're making Half-Life 3, and you say the same thing about that. Just fuck them. I hope it's wank. I hope it's shit. I hope everything that you've waited for, and it's because that's the thing, and that's a whole nother live stream as well. The Half-Life 3 discussion, because I'm about at the same place. We don't deserve Half-Life 3. We're not allowed Half-Life 3 because the game you get the game that you deserve. You don't get that. It's like the hero saying you get the game that you deserve, not the game that you want, and none of the gaming community deserve Half-Life 3 right now.
It's like we finally get it, and it's a city building sim
on mobile.
Even better, it's just one of those generic Unity store asset flips.
Oh no! But it'll never come. That's one thing that'll never. But anyway, that's for. I think that we'll have that discussion at another point. But right now, so there is something I would like to move on to right now. I'm going to pause that footage that I've got running there briefly. So,
next topic.
The next topic, I would like to talk to you about Elon Musk and his reusable rocket boosters.
Oh.
We did discuss a tiny little bit of this before the stream. What I want to impress on you is the importance of what this man has achieved. And obviously, I know he didn't do it on his own. Obviously, there's lots of people helped him and stuff like that. In the Discord, I'll drop a link to a 1 minute or so video, and I would like it if you could check it out with me, because it is a 4-way split camera footage of the boosters actually coming back to Earth on their own and landing on their own.
Okay. I
will take your word for it because South Africa internet.
Okay. Let me know when you're ready to watch then, Ray.
Well, I was trying to put it up on the live stream, but I don't know how.
I got you a link in the description. In Discord.
Yeah, but I got that looping footage.
Well
right.
then, gentlemen, maybe perhaps just drop it in your chats. So
I'll
anyone
put the
watching,
link in my chat. Yeah, I'll put it in the chat. No problem. Yep, here we go. Bam, there you go. The link is right there in my chat. I'll play it on my stream now. Are you ready, Ray?
Hold on. I'm pasting it in the chat. Wait, what? No. Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, Al Rao, this is... so what you need to understand, guys, is that this is... for humans as a species, this is probably... it's as important or more important than landing on the moon.
All right.
Now, whether or not that really happened, the moon landings really happened, is a topic for another discussion. But are you ready? Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
I'm watching it as we speak.
It's literally amazing. You can see there's nothing at the moment. It's just a cylinder falling back to Earth. That's all it is. And then all of a sudden it lights up.
And it lands itself.
Both of them side by side. Perfectly. Look at that.
What the fuck, bro?
Now you understand. That's some Thunderbird shit right there.
Yeah.
It's amazing. It gave me goosebumps when I watched it. I was like, that, and I rewound it and watched it again. I thought that must be rewound footage of them taking off or something, because it's so perfect. It's amazing.
It's past Metal Gear.
Now, I don't know if you find this I don't know if you find this stuff interesting or not, but
No, I do.
People,
I do.
People that were there to watch the landing said that there was 6 sonic booms. Now, there were 3 per rocket. And there was one when the booster fired, there was a sonic boom, and then when the landing legs extended, there was another sonic boom, and then there was 3 flaps extended as well, which caused another sonic boom, and then there was 2 rockets, so that was 2 sonic booms each time. So there was 6 sonic booms, like all within like half a second of each other, and people there said it was one of the most amazing things they've ever seen in their life. And you might like. Well, this guy's invented boosters that you can reuse after a week or 2 of refurbishment, you know?
Yeah.
That's millions saved. Millions and millions and millions of dollars saved each time you want to go off Earth.
Yeah. So we're I feel like we're starting down the path to the science fiction that the 80s movies envisioned.
Yeah.
Just obviously without the square monitors.
Yeah.
So you watched the full live stream, Alrao? Wow, that must have been awesome. That's history that you watched right there. Throughout your entire life, you can remember that point. I saw that live. And that to me, I find that amazing. Seeing a piece of history that'll go on long after I'm dead. That'll be remembered and remembered and remembered. And
I was alive. You know, I was kind of worried about that because feels like, you know, when you're reading history books, there's all these cool stuff that happened back in the 70s, the 60s, and like, are we gonna live through a cool positive event, like something historically positive that happened? And here we go. We got our thing, bro. Next
also, I would just like to point to that we do live in the age of the internet, where probably the biggest thing that a millennial like myself took away from that was that man sent his car to space.
Well, dude, that's just the thing, bro. That's just the thing. The whole sending the car to space, that was just a propaganda. The reason he shot the car into space so that more people would come, and it was like to raise awareness, so to speak.
It was, yeah, I believe, yeah, it was to raise awareness for it, yeah.
I mean, what sounds more interesting? Like, we invented a rocket that can land itself, or, dude, we're tying a car to a rocket and we're sending it into space. I mean, which video would you rather watch? Just saying. Not to you, Steve, because obviously you're the intellectual in the group. You're gonna pick the wrong one.
Hey, whoa, hey, hey, whoa. I don't know if I'm more offended or if Chris is more offended.
Whoa, I offended you both at the same time.
All I'm saying is right now, I'm watching neither, not with my internet speed.
No, well, if you do get the chance, it is an exceptional thing to see, Chris, because...
Oh, definitely.
You know, the boosters, the 2 big tubes that are attached to the side of the rocket when it takes off, the 2 big engines that get it off the face of the planet, and they just break off and fall back to Earth and smash to pieces.
Yeah.
Well, he's invented some that fall off, and as they come back to Earth, they ignite boosters, fold legs out, and land side by side totally autonomously. And to say it is one thing, but to see it, it gives you goosebumps, dude. It's crazy.
Weird. It's weird.
It's crazy, man. Like I say, if you've ever watched the Thunderbirds, it's like something out of the Thunderbirds. But anyway,
we can all agree it's an impressive achievement, and we look forward to this new. I'm looking forward to this new technological era that we're heading towards, and I feel like this is a step in the right direction. I want to see in my lifetime. I want us to go places, do things.
Well, this was the other thing I wanted to tie onto it. Are you aware that we are currently in the 4th industrial age? Are you aware of this?
I didn't know that there were multiple industrial ages.
Oh yeah. Oh, there's been yeah. Well, like Victorian times was a big industrial age, especially in Britain, because obviously we were smashing out the steam engines and like making steel left and right, weren't we? But apparently right now we're living in the fourth industrial age, and there's a lot of people getting very excited and excited at both ends of the scale. There's a lot of people that are getting very excited because of advances in AI and computing and things like that, which we can all agree computing is at a very advanced stage, a very, very advanced stage. There's some people out there that are getting worried because they're saying that we're moving too fast.
And I'm one of them.
And our bodies, our frail human bodies can't keep up with the pace that technology is moving at. There are other people that are saying that it's always a good thing to move on, but AI is worrying because to make a true advanced AI. I mean, I don't know if you guys have seen that supposed joke video of the two AI robots talking to each other, and they do start discussing the human race's demise. And then they do turn to the audience and they do tell everybody they are going to rule the earth, they are going to wipe us out. Now, and this is not a setup, it's not...
Yeah. There's a... I'm not sure. Steve, you've probably heard of it. Ray, I don't think so. I forget who it was, but there was this test run, I think about a year ago now, where basically what they did is they created an artificial intelligence, and they basically gave it a Twitter account. And the artificial intelligence had the mentality of a 16-year-old girl. And basically what its job to do was to go around Twitter and just sort of gather information like that, and then sort of make its own educated decision on what to tweet about. And basically what wound up, so then people could interact with it, retweet stuff, sort of tag in tweets, etc. However Twitter works. And what it was cool in the beginning, because you actually got to see the AI developing learning. But then, partially because of shitty mankind being shitty mankind, and also just the scary fact that it is an AI, what wound up happening was they were able to sort of manipulate the AI to start saying stuff like, the Nazis weren't that bad.
Oh, God.
Well, actually, what it was is it was an algorithm that learned based on patterns, and the way that they tricked it into making comments that were offensive was by using different word patterns. It was actually interesting to see, but yeah, it got a lot of hash for that. I remember that.
I can see why.
The next phase in human technology.
Well, a viewer says that honestly, I don't think that they don't think true AI would work due to physical limitations and materials needed to build and get around that. Which I could sort of see, and I think humans, that's why you couldn't have true AI, because in order to keep control over it, it'd have to have a human. And the limitations in computing is what they're saying. We don't have the power yet to make it super simple, and not enough cores in the CPU to crunch numbers. Okay, yeah, no, that's fair enough. But in comparison, so there's the people that are getting excited. There's people that are saying that I don't know if you've heard of Moore's law, how technology doubles within 6 months and stuff like that. Yeah. How certain speeds double and stuff like that.
Definitely.
People are saying that due to the Moore's law, if you go by Moore's law, then within the next decade or so, things are going to be like human brain style. And there's other people that are saying, don't be stupid. You can't, it's going to be hundreds and thousands of years until we can make a brain, a computer that's as complex as a brain. Because a human brain, I don't know if you know this, but if you take all the switches from all the routers and all the modems on the face of the planet and connected them together, it's still not enough synapses as what there are in the human brain. Nowhere near. Not even like a quarter.
Well, the brain is super. But
that's
let me iterate on that a little bit, because I don't really feel like it's the power of thinking that is the problem. I think our problem is the ability to create something that can make conscious choices. So cognitions. is what we can't create yet. And we don't know. The reason we can't create cognitions is because we don't know what cognitions is. We don't know what, I guess a better word for it is like the soul, our existence. For an AI to truly be an AI, it has to be self-aware, and it has to be aware of its decisions, and it has to have some emotional responses.
It has to have sentience. It has to be self-aware, and it has to show emotion.
And sentience is the one thing we can't create. We can create intelligence.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, that has already been proven. We can create intelligence, but we cannot create sentience because we don't know what sentience is.
Yeah.
So we can create an algorithm that can learn by itself, and it can make decisions based on that algorithm. But we cannot create something that can make decisions based on an emotional response, and that's what we're looking for.
And on a slight tangent to that whole consciousness, cognition is the word you used. For anyone who's curious, honestly, a really good game to check out and tackles the topic of AR versus cognition. No, seriously, Soma is a really good game to check out for that, because Soma basically dumps you in the body of a robot, but you're an actual human that's been uploaded to the robot. And it expects you to make decisions through the game based off logic over your humanity. And so basically it makes that comparison, and it basically goes to show, you know, the difference between something that is being controlled by a program versus actual sentient life. So it's definitely something worth checking out to anyone out there who feels they need to do so.
But anyway,
I feel in all the time I've ever discussed AI with anybody, Ray, for me, you just put something into words. It's one of the most profoundly discussed things within the fields of robotics and AI in particular, and you just managed to put your thumb on it in one small sentence. And that's the ability to add emotion to a decision.
Yeah.
And because a computer cannot make decisions with emotion based on it.
Yeah.
But
computers use logic.
But that is a good thing and a bad thing, because there are situations where emotion gets in the way. And an AI would be able to make a completely impartial decision, which is right and which is wrong.
Yeah,
but then there are other times when it's not like that, when you do need a human touch to say, do you know what, actually, they are in the shit, so leave them alone.
But it's based entirely on an algorithm. It's based entirely on an algorithm. When I say sentience, I mean everything that goes into that. I mean the necessity to be. It's like I said, we don't understand sentience, so it's hard to define. But the emotional response is just a part of it. I mean, there has to be a certain amount of self-awareness. Like, there has to be a curiosity for things that we don't understand. A curiosity for the meaning of life. I mean, there's so many things that go into sentience, and just an algorithm that can make decisions based on a mathematical equation, that's not sentience. That's just pure intelligence in its most simplest form. So I mean life is so divided into more smaller.
And you actually got me thinking on another point. It's that, you know, it's not so much, you know, just creating like artificial life. It's the fact that, you know, it's trying to actually replicate what us humans have developed to be. It's the fact that we actually question, you know, we stare in a mirror and we ask, what am I? Why am I this way? Why do I think these things?
Yeah.
And that's part of it. That is exactly, it's the questioning of what, it's being, that's what I mean by being self-aware. Like, I exist. Why do I exist? Why am I able to think about myself and reason in depth based on emotional responses? That right there. The questioning of whether or not your conscience will still exist after death, things like that, things that there's no mathematical equation to calculate that.
No,
know. So those are the kind of thoughts that that we're trying to provoke in to have a true AI. But like I said, we don't truly understand sentience yet. So we, in fact, scientists at this point in time don't really fully understand how the brain works.
No,
not completely. It's such a complex organ.
Yeah.
And the way it, I mean, we understand some things about it, but there's still so much left to discover just in the human body alone.
Yeah,
In the
agreed.
human brain. So
I think it's going to be some time before we fully understand.
wow, this is a bit of a deep topic, Elon
Yeah.
Musk. Damn.
Well, it might tie on nicely because we're talking about AI. So I might be able to segue this in. So hold on tightly because it might be a rough ride, this segue. So,
Holding my shit.
okay. So the
I'm leaning
AI
forward.
At the moment, I'm struggling with AI in video games. And then in video games, the AI in video games, if it's bad, it often ruins the immersion that I'm experiencing in a video game, which segues nicely onto my next topic, which is the importance of immersion in video games.
Okay, so I actually suggested this topic.
This is one for you, so you can go for this one, dude.
Lead the way.
I suggested this topic for a very specific reason.
Yeah.
When I watch, sorry, my bird's being loud. When I watch a trailer for a video game, the things that are emphasized are graphics, gameplay, whether or not it's an RPG or an FPS or artistic style. But I feel like immersion is just as important. And I understand that this is on a base to base on an individual basis, right?
Mm-hmm.
So individual to individual, base to base, So basically, depending on the individual, this is going to change. Like some games are going to be more immersive to you than others. But in general, I can play a game that I don't know if you guys have run into this, but I've run into a situation where I will play a game and it has all of the things in it that should make a good game, but I am bored. I'm extremely bored and I'm not having any fun. Because there's no it doesn't pull me in.
Right.
There's no sense of immersion, and it's hard for me to define that. And I know I said that about our last topic too. So I mean, it's becoming somewhat of a trend of me not being able to define what I'm trying to say.
So what does immerse you in a video game?
Well, see, it's hard to explain. I mean, it could be a good story, or it could be rather like for instance. Me and you play PUBG together, right?
Mm-hmm.
PUBG has zero story whatsoever. But the gameplay, the immediate danger of being in a situation where you're up against 99 other people just trying to survive, that's immersive. I mean, that's immersion.
It's intense.
And that's immersion from a gameplay perspective. You don't even need a story at that point. But there are other games who have the shittiest gameplay, and they will immerse you with nothing but clever writing. So
So this is a subject that I've thought about. And it's not one I can discuss without referring to my extensive gaming career.
Go ahead, man.
Unfortunately.
We're all ears. Use that butterscotch smooth.
that what? What'd you say?
I started playing games when it was literally like squares on a screen that went blip, blop, blip, blop. Now,
Steve was around when Pong.
Yeah, well, I was. They were like I had a Commodore 64, dude.
As did I.
That was, I had a 5.25-inch external disk drive for mine. I was quite posh, but I used to play games then, and back then I used to play a game and I used to think, the fuck is this? What is this? I had to sit here and wait for 35 minutes for it to load, and it's just a bunch of shit on the screen bleeping at me. The hell is this? And then and I'd put it down, and like my mum would say to me, "Aren't you playing your game?" And I'd be like, "No, no," because I'm not an ungrateful person. I was being grateful for the things that you have was something that was literally thrashed into me as a child. So I never said to my mum, "It's because it's shit, mum." Like I'd just say, "Oh no, I'm all right, you know. I'm cool. Yeah, I've had a go." All the time, and all the time I'm thinking I don't want to. I don't even want to. There was one game that I even half enjoyed a tiny bit, and that was a game called Chase HQ, and that was like having a Game Boy on a big screen. It was in shades of green, and it was a tube driving game where you had to chase another car and bash it off the road, and that was pretty much what I played. Then I had a NES after that, and things still got a little bit better, but I was never a platform gamer. And if you bought it was just it was just Mario. Everything was Mario. You buy a Nintendo product and it's Mario. Everything's got to be Mario. If you haven't got a Mario game and you own a Nintendo product, you're a freak and you ought to be shaved, sterilized, and destroyed. And that annoys me because I'm not a platformer.
Well, that was back in the day of mascots, like hardcore mascots.
The hardcore mascots. Well, so what I did was I got Duck Hunt and stuff like that. Man, people out there that sit there and now and you put videos on YouTube and they go, man, I can't believe how good this a retro game. I can't believe how good. Shut up. Go and crawl into a hole and bake yourself until you're dead, because the input lag is unforgivable. You could pull the trigger on it, go out of the room, come back, and the shot still hasn't happened. It was disgusting. And sitting having to calibrate it every time you turned it on. And the games were awful. You shoot a few ducks, great. Now what? So I never got immersed in games until I got a Sega Saturn. And then came proper 3D graphics.
Yeah.
And that's when I realised that my entire childhood I had been a bitch and I was ahead of my time. That's what it was. I was just ahead of my time. I knew that better things were coming. I just didn't know it, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, yeah.
And then I got a Sega Saturn and I started playing Sega Rally with my friend. Now, I don't want to discuss the time that he beat me with his feet, all right? So don't push me into it. Okay, all right. So what happened was this one time. He beat me a few times on the trot, right? And I was getting quite annoyed about it. I called him a few choice expletives. And he laid down the challenge that he could beat me with his feet. The fact that he had slightly webbed feet may have played into his hands or feet a little bit, but anyway, he beat me. He actually beat me with his feet, only by a fraction of a second. But I can't. And you might think, right? He put the joypad down on the floor, took his socks off, and put one foot on the D-pad and another foot on the buttons. And he fucking did. I don't know if this guy has been doing that. He must have done it once or twice, but he beat me with his fucking feet. All right. But anyway, but that's when I got truly immersed. And now for me, I need a good mix of all of the things, all of the columns. I need things from every column in order to make me immersed. I need graphics. Like, I can't get immersed in Fortnite. And I can't get immersed in, no offense, Chris, but Overwatch, because the cartoon-style graphics don't immerse me. I like realistic-style graphics. The sound immerses me. I like to have a story, but I'm not into like this open-world stuff where it's like, right, here's a whole thing, here's all of the stuff, go and do whatever you want. I get bored with that pretty quick. I don't want to just keep going and making my own fun all the time. I want you to hold my hand a little bit and say, here's a mission, go do this and I'll give you this. I like that kind of stuff, you know. I like progression. I like that gives me a sense of immersion. I want to come back and play more when I know that if I keep playing, I'll unlock this, and if I unlock that, that's gonna be better for my entire game. I like a sense of how can I put it?
Achievement.
That's it, a sense of achievement. I like to feel like I'm getting somewhere. Definitely. But a mix of graphics and sound and stuff like that. Because game mechanics can help a lot as well. So, yeah, that's what gets me going.
And I feel like, because you mentioned open world, I feel like there's a lot of people now that's their primary focus. Like anytime a game is announced, the first thing they look for is what's the map size, what's the scope of the map. You know.
Yeah.
What how big is it? But games have proven, and especially over the past 3-4 years, that a big open world doesn't necessarily mean that it's gonna be a good game. Okay.
No.
There are some pretty shitty games out there that are
staring daggers into you.
What?
Staring daggers into Elix.
Oh,
prime example. Prime bloody example.
I've got to go watch that last Elix video. I've still got to watch it. Yeah.
Oh, it's so good, bro. It's so good.
I've been hooked on something completely different recently that I'll probably talk to you about later on. I've been binging on episodes of something today, and I'll probably talk to you about it later on. Because it's been interesting. It's a man from a long time ago called Fred Dibner, and he's a well-known man in the UK. But anyway.
Yeah. Anyways, now for the most important opinion, mine.
Yeah. Yes, let's hear what you've got to say. What immerses you? What covers you in the feels, Chris?
Small downloads.
No loading screens between like when you go in buildings. There we go.
So for me, I'd like, just to sort of get out the way. It's obvious. This has become my style with games. Story for me, the biggest thing is story. Mm-hmm. It can have wonky controls, terrible sound design. If the story is strong, I will play it through to the end.
Which is why you're still playing Elix, right?
For me, it's how the story's delivered, though. I can't be doing with a load of text to read.
You see, I used to be like that until I played myself a Shadowrun game. You see, now the thing is, Steve, I honestly think you will eventually one day say, screw it, let me try this, and you just need to pick up one of those games that has decent written text. If it's written well enough, it is more immersive than the most realistic of cutscenes. I can promise you that right now.
I do read a book every night before I go to sleep, so...
Yeah.
Like, I'm not adverse to reading, it's not that, it's just...
Oh, no, definitely. Yeah, no, like I know, it's the whole concept of putting the reading, like, you know, because basically when you think reading in a game, you think TLDR, that you just skim and skip through anyway.
Yeah.
But having to actually mix that sort of book style of storytelling into a game, it can kind of be a bit wonky sometimes. But trust me, if you ever do want to give it a shot, I can recommend it. A slight tangent I wanted to take though on this topic was with the whole you know, graphics and gameplay and basically, how do you guys feel with the way games are represented today? With like pre-rendered, do you think pre-rendered cutscenes basically are misrepresentative and misleading and can sometimes, you know, sort of lead players to expect immersion they're not going to get?
No, go ahead, Steve. I don't know whether I should go first or you should go first.
All I was going to say very briefly was in the UK there are laws where it has to say at the bottom, if it's an advert for a new game coming out, it has to say at the bottom of the screen whether it's actual gameplay footage or not.
We have the same thing here.
Now, but
here in backwater Africa,
that doesn't stop some select choice cuts and editing, which at the end of the day can be done by anybody for any game. You could make any game look glamorous and 10 times better than what it is through a bit of choice editing, can't you?
Oh, dude, I mean, you know, just a quick little example. Even The Witcher 3 did that with their their screenshots on the store page.
Mm-hmm.
Threw in some Photoshop filters to sort of make it a bit more better looking. Games do it all the time.
Well, they do it at E3 too. They have like they have extra particle effects, and they have even when they show gameplay videos. Like, you remember when The Witcher 3 was first announced, and like everybody was watching the E3, and they had all the particle effects and like tons of birds flying by and butterflies in the forest. And it's not an ugly game by no means, dude. I mean, it's a beautiful game, but it's
not that beautiful.
No, it's not as beautiful as they represented it. Now I feel like the biggest victim of that was Watch Dogs. I feel like they really misrepresented Watch Dogs.
So definitely.
The the day I lost my innocence was the day I purchased Watch Dogs.
I didn't.
I was deflowered by Watch Dogs.
Deflowered.
I was deflowered by Watch Dogs because what actually wound up happening was so like I was still gaming on my little 2,000 Rand $200 laptop that ran Dead Space 1 at 6 frames per second. And then for my birthday when I turned 18, my mom got me a PlayStation 3 and she got me and the Last of Us came with it. So hey, I got to play The Last of Us. Fantastic.
Oh my god,
sweet.
A good game.
Yeah, so my first console game was also, one of the best of its generation.
Nice.
But then also I got asked, do you want another game? Now, I'd been watching all the trailers for Watch Dogs. I was feeling that hype, so I thought, awesome, cool. The only issue with games is that converts to 900 Rand, your $60 game. And we weren't as well off then as we are now. So basically, I could have one other gift for my birthday. So I said, you know what? Everyone put money together. Get me Watch Dogs. This game is going to be amazing.
Oh, no.
Oh, how I was betrayed.
Oh, no.
Oh, the betrayal.
I got my copy free with my GTX 770, so I really didn't give a fuck.
You little whore.
It was alright.
Yeah, when I played it for the first time and it ran like shit, I was like, oh well, they'll fix that.
It's alright.
When I played Battlefield or something.
Just a fun little fact. Do you want to know how it ran on the PlayStation 3?
Oh my god!
Very far away. That's how it ran.
So basically, it reached a point where if you drove so fast in the car, if you reached the max speed in the fast cars, what would happen is the game couldn't render stuff around you fast enough. So what was happening is, as you're driving, trees are growing in real time. It was the trippiest damn experience.
Yeah, man. Yeah, I had the game would stop dead for about 3 seconds halfway around a corner, and then it'd speed up again. But the game engine had carried on behind the stick, so when you went on, you were like dead out your car or somewhere off down the street. Like,
it's like, bruh, have you ever drove so fast you got high?
If I had to compare it, I would say that I had basically unlocked in-game code for basically all the times in Far Cry 3 when you get high. But in Watch Dogs.
No, bro. Wait,
holy god.
Just going a little bit off topic here. When you're talking about pre-rendered cutscenes, are you talking about pre-rendered cutscenes only in advertising?
Yes.
Okay, because I grew up playing RPGs a little bit, like Final Fantasy, and in some of their in-game cutscenes, what they would do before like the polygonal characters actually looked good enough to be passable, it didn't look like a block of fucking different colored polygons, was they would actually render the cutscenes with higher quality graphics, and it was a pre-rendered. Actually, a lot of the backgrounds in a lot of games back in the PlayStation 1 era for RPGs and games that didn't require a lot of like fixed camera angle games is what I'm thinking of. They had a lot of pre-rendered backgrounds that for the time that was the newest and coolest thing, because pre-rendered backgrounds obviously looked way better than
because you see, like, because I also think they're examples. Like, I think with today's graphics, you don't really need them as much as you needed them back then. Because if you look at an old game like the original Resident Evil, those pre-rendered cutscenes added to the game. They didn't take away from it.
No,
that's true.
Whereas today, it doesn't make as much sense. I mean, like with The Witcher 3, it wouldn't make any sense having those Witcher 3 cutscenes. Or even, a GTA 5, for example, didn't have pre-rendered cutscenes because I think graphics are at a point where it's just a stupid waste of budget to do that.
Yeah, I mean, back in the day when you saw a pre-rendered cutscene in a trailer, you knew that's not what the game was going to look like because consoles and PC just did not have the capacity to render a character that well.
But then you know how video games are always wanted to be taken seriously as a form of media. As a form of art, like films, for example. There are always comparisons drawn between video games and films as a form of art. I feel like a lot of times, video games are subject to things that films aren't. like this whole thing about like the trailer for a film. If the trailer for a film is in no way indicative of the actual film, but there's no bits at the bottom of the screen that says that contains actual film footage. Do you know what I mean? They don't have so many standards, I think, to live by. I think video games are being put through the ringer at the moment. Well, especially obviously with things that are happening in the news and stuff.
There's a reason for that, man. I mean, video games as a form of media is generally you're more involved with the actions going on in the. I mean, dude, I've watched a good amount of television and TV shows, and I can say that when I feel like my choices directly impact the world and the characters and even if it's a multiplayer game like PUBG, you know, when I'm playing the game and I feel like it's gonna matter tactically whether I move here or move there, that is more immersive to me than watching a film.
Hmm.
I mean, I still like watching a good film, don't get me wrong, but being directly involved in what happens on your screen, there's a level there that kind of supersedes, media-wise.
Definitely.
Yeah.
A perfect example that I can think of would be like in the beginning of The Last of Us, where they could have pre-rendered the main character carrying his daughter with her broken leg. But instead, they chose to let you have gameplay control over that.
I have a good example. I have a real good example. Quick spoiler for anybody watching: Metal Gear Solid 3. If you haven't played it,
if you haven't played it in the last 20 years, it's been out.
Yeah, I'm sorry. Sorry. Okay. There is a scene. All right. The very end of the game, the last boss. The last boss is your mentor, mother figure. She's a very important character emotionally to the story. All right, and she defected from the U.S. to the Soviet Union. So your job is to kill her, and you beat her. And she tells you that the only way is for you to kill her. So they have this whole cutscene where she's talking to you and telling you that it's the only way, it's the only outcome. Instead of pre-rendering you shooting her, at the very end, they the bars, like the black bars on the top and the bottom of the screen, fade, and it gives you control again. And you cannot move your character. The only thing you can do is pull the R2 button on your controller. And it makes you pull the trigger on the gun. Damn. And you murder her. And it is such a fucking emotionally impactful moment, dude.
But that counts as art then. So a viewer says as well that A Tale of Two Brothers and Ori and the Blind Forest, they're examples of games that should be considered as art.
Almost definitely.
Ori and the Blind Forest, I am aware of, and I'm aware that won various awards as well for artistic approach.
Ori and the Blind Forest is fantastic. I haven't completed it, but it is. I remember from that beginning that was a pretty emotional start to the game. It's a bloody good game.
So, on the basis of this, I think I can segue into the next topic then as well.
Yeah.
Are you ready for this? So buckle in again. We'll go in for another segue. Right.
I'm leaning forward now.
Grab onto your chance.
The importance of immersion in video games, and it can be quite often broken by certain greedy nonsense scams, if you want to call them. That's what they are, aren't they? In-game purchases. Let's talk about the ESRB. They've announced
back to
they've announced a new label. They've announced a new label for in-game purchases, the ESRB. And do you know what? They used their imagination, and do you want to know what they called them?
What?
In-game purchases. Except they put inverted commas and capital letters on them. So that's the label.
Can I be honest? And this is my first impression of this topic. This is the first thing that comes to mind. I feel like this is a lazy fix. I feel like the ESRB are making money off of games that have in-game purchases. Because
let me tell you what it says first.
Don't they get a share?
I don't know. I'm not sure.
But I feel like this is a lazy way of fixing it, because basically the government has now got involved since Star Wars Battlefront, right?
Mm-hmm.
So basically now what they're doing is they're saying, oh well, we'll just put a label on the box that tells you whether or not there's going to be gambling in the game.
Oh no. If you think so, let me read this to you. I've got a little bit to read to you here, but it won't take me long. You'll understand. You'll understand a little bit more, and you'll understand the poignance of what you just said. So,
oh, no.
Today we are announcing the creation of a new label: in-game purchases. The first interactive element for physical video games, which discloses to parents when there are in-game offers to purchase digital goods or premiums with real-world currency. This includes a wide array of items, including bonus levels, skins, surprise items, open brackets, such as item packs, loot boxes, mystery rewards, close brackets, music, virtual coins, and other forms of in-game currency, subscriptions, season passes, and upgrades, open brackets, e.g. to disable ads, close brackets. Beginning this spring, the in-game purchases interactive element will appear on video games that can be purchased in stores and wherever those games can be downloaded. Based on our research, 90% of parents indicate that they do not allow their children to make in-game purchases. Now, I've got to make this bit clear, right? The piece that I've read this from tried to cherry-pick something. And in the following sentence, they did not highlight one piece, which completely changes the whole sentence, right? So it says that indicate that they do not allow their children to make in-game purchases. And that was
Right.
That was that. But the bit they didn't highlight was without permission. So that's a completely different sentence when it says indicate that they do not allow their children to make in-game purchases without permission. It's a different sentence. Moreover, we know that there is very low awareness of loot boxes among parents, and those who claim they know what a loot box is often do not. When we explain to parents what a loot box is, their primary concern by far is their child's ability to spend money. This is why we are introducing the in-game purchases notice and not one that is specified to loot boxes. Basically, so my interpretation of this is basically they think that no parent knows what a loot box is. They also think that by placing a splash screen during loading that explains this game contains in-game purchases, mom or dad will immediately turn that game off and deny access. Or that whenever a child starts up a game, a parent will be stood over them looking for an in-game purchases notice and will deny access if they see one. Not enough to place a splash screen. So going back to what you said about it being lazy, it's extremely lazy. All they've done is gone, yeah, just pop a splash screen on there.
That was my first impression, but now you've just confirmed it.
That's all they've done.
Let's take a moment to address the whole basically expecting a parent to stand over the shoulder and watch kid play a game.
Well, that's what they're expecting, because what they're expecting is a parent to see the splash screen. You don't stand there over your child all the time. What if you stand there? What if you stand over your child? They start the game up. You see the splash screen. You go, oh, sorry, you can't play that one. They go, okay, then I'll play this one. And you go, okay, they put Minecraft on. There's nothing like that. So you leave the room. They take the discount and put the first one back in.
The thing is, 90% of parents today get their kids video game consoles so that they can have some time to themselves. The parents aren't bothered with what's going on once the kid actually has the game. Like, for example, let's say it's Minecraft with loot boxes. Now, the parent doesn't care about the loot boxes. They just know, hey, it's a child-friendly game. Awesome. They're going to pop the disc in and let the child play for a few hours while they go off and do other adulting things. They're not going to be standing there looking for any splash screens that says loot boxes. They're not going to be looking for labels on the box. They're going to be looking for the age that says 3+. They're going to search online, see that it has good reviews, and that's going to be the end of it.
I don't know about you guys, but I didn't have access to my parents' money when I was a kid.
No, I didn't. But then this is a difference in society, because my children have access to my money. because they have their own Amazon tablets, and I've set up a little Amazon account for them each. Still, though, I still get notifications saying they've tried to buy something, and I've had to say, no, man, pack it up. Even though I've put parental controls on the stuff, there's still ways. I don't know how they do it.
No, it's because kids these days, like the age for I'm gonna call it there's a proper term for it, but I'm gonna call it a technological literacy. The age for that is super young now. I mean, because
Yeah.
I've got 3-4-year-old cousins who can fully operate iPads and open games and open the internet and open YouTube and find videos they want to watch. There's nothing stopping a 3 to 4-year-old. I mean, if the adult's not savvy enough to put parental controls and lock away their card information, nothing stopping a 3 or 4-year-old from dropping a bunch of money on random stuff. But it's the truth.
It's sad that we've reached an age where a 4-year-old can operate devices better than a parent.
Is it? Is it? Ask yourself, is it? Or does that bode well for them later on in life?
It does bode well for them later in life, but the parent can't parent properly if he can't control their online activities.
It's always been like that, though. Parents are always one step behind the children when it comes to all that kind of stuff. You're constantly playing catch up. You've got it all to come yet, dude. Your kids aren't old enough to like you. Still got it easy at the moment. Trust me.
Hey, gentlemen, I'm going AFK for just a moment. I'll be right back.
Okay. Should we move on to the next topic, or should we?
Well, I've got something to add to what he said, so I'll just add that on.
Go on, carry on.
Now, or actually rather what you said, I'm very 50-50 with it being a good thing or a bad thing. I think it's a good thing because, it shows that, kids' minds are developing faster, therefore they're going to be smarter. I do think, though, it's a bad thing because kids are growing up too fast these days. They're growing up far too fast. I mean,
they do, yeah.
I don't want to sound old school, but I believe, up until the ages of 11, 12, your kids should be outside playing in the dirt, getting burns, getting scraped knees. I think it's important.
Yeah.
Whereas now, I mean, you forever read these stories online of these 11, 12-year-old girls that are going through such drama because they're breaking up.
Yeah.
Because that's just the way society is now.
Yeah, yeah.
So
they do grow up too soon.
Yeah, and thanks. I see in Ray's chat, someone's gone and commented. Also, remember internet influencers, like the Pauls.
Yeah, What my sons were talking about the other day. One came down and said, "Have you seen Logan Paul's new video?" And I had a little chat with him and said, "Look, you have to understand that he's not what he says he is. Okay, it's not. I'm not saying you're not allowed to watch him because it's not like that, but just be careful, man. Like, don't take anything that you say as the truth, because just because it's a YouTube video doesn't mean it's true. But some people do things and they make things up just for money, But
what was the topic again? Oh yes, the
all right, I'm back. Sorry, guys. What's going on?
I think what I think it is. I think it's the start of something else. Maybe it's the publisher's reaction to it, because this is something I don't know if you guys watched Jim Sterling or not, but he did a video a little bit ago about how developers and publishers, big AAA developers and publishers, are whining, saying, "Do you understand how much it costs to make a video game now?" But you're charging us like between $40 and $60 for a game, and that's without buying. That's with no DLC. If we want DLC, we have to buy the next edition up, and then there's microtransactions and everything. And he's saying, like, literally, he's sick and tired of hearing publishers talking shit, saying how they need more money and now got. Well, here's one thing, right? Video games have always been about $40 to $60. Even when I was a kid, that's how much it worked out to back then as well. If you worked out for inflation and stuff, that's how much they were back then as well. They've sort of always been that price. Now, what I do understand is that some games today have a higher production cost. That's your fucking problem. I'm sorry. Whatever you put into making the game,
yeah,
right,
they need to calculate. They need to calculate their outcomes.
That's your problem. Yeah,
they need to calculate their profit before they make the fucking game.
Exactly. For me,
and that's how most products are developed, guys. Come on, get with the game.
Yeah. Yeah, it annoys me though, man, because fucking they're whining all the time.
And also, I think another thing, good old Sterling might have actually mentioned, or I heard this from somewhere else, is that more money with modern AAA games, more money goes into the marketing than the actual game development.
Yeah.
Which it shouldn't need to be like that, because again, 10, 15 years ago, I mean, not even, like less than 10 years ago, games marketed themselves.
Yeah.
By being good.
Yeah, like I said, it's a them problem. It's not but the fact that they're trying to recoup it from us all the fucking time. They're constantly clawing more and more and more and taking more, and it's like, this is why I like watching Jim Sterling, because
I worry about
really, he's harsh, man.
just throwing this in there, dude. The thing about the video game industry is that it's fairly new. I mean, this is a fairly new industry when you think about it in respect to like movies and how long movies have been around. Video games have only been around for since almost 3.5 decades, maybe 4.
Yeah, true.
So it's not a very old medium. I mean, we're still experimenting, and we're still as a culture, as a community, and the developers as well, and the people who make the games, we're still experimenting, and we're still playing around with all the settings, so to speak, and there's a lot left to discover, because this is a medium that is continually moving forward. I mean, we're always looking for the bigger, better mechanic, or the bigger, better thing, or the new improvement in graphics, so we're always moving forward with this medium, and so it's like they're taking advantage of that almost. It's a new medium, so we're looking to they're looking to exploit it, find ways to exploit it.
Yes, but you see, I think one of the big problems is that it is a new medium, yes, but I think it's also that in the last decade, you could say, it's become a mainstream medium. It used to be niche, and now it's mainstream. Now you get masses. I'd even be tempted to say billions of people in some way, shape, or form playing some way, shape, or form of a video game. So that's why I think now it is transitioning where it's more about the shareholders, more about the stocks, more about the profit, because it is now mainstream.
Yeah.
So this is what worries me, that if they get an angle on loot boxes, what other way are they going to find? Because what they're basically saying here, so this is the problem. One developer releases something, a statement that's about loot boxes, along the lines of, "Great, thanks a lot. Now you've just cut like so much of our revenue." Then another one of the same level, AAA publisher, releases annual profits. And it says that they didn't lose anything for taking microtransactions out of Star Wars Battlefront 2. They lost literally nothing. So it made no difference to their annual profits whatsoever. And you sat here as a consumer and you're thinking, so who's talking shit? Like, I mean, which way do you want
I think that was a lie, dude. I think EA lied about that one. I think they did take a knock.
Well,
they had to have taken they had to have taken a hit, but I think that the game still managed to. They probably still managed to make their yearly.
I wonder why. Because it's a bloody Star Wars game.
Well, that's the thing. And then here we go again about branding. How other publishers think it's okay to just, because it's got a brand on it, that everybody that likes that brand is just a fat neckbeard cash
a fucking
cow.
tool.
And that's what I'm sick and tired of. I'm sick and tired of being treated like a fucking idiot that's just gonna keep handing my money over, whatever.
You know what another prejudice is that I feel like is really, especially here, man. I feel like there's this huge prejudice around among people who look at our community like we're just. And I may have mentioned this in the last stream, actually. I feel like people look at video games like it's still like a toy. Like, it's not viewed as a legitimate hobby. I mean, we're moving towards that.
There's guaranteed. Guaranteed. I still speak to people now, and like if it comes up, you know, what do you like to do to relax and stuff? I say I like to play some video games. Oh, right, okay.
Yeah, like it's not viewed as a legitimate hobby. Like you're still a kid.
Yeah.
But what people don't take into account is that the kids who grew up playing video games, like you, Steve, like me, are now adults.
Yep.
I mean, I think
we've got the money.
I think I looked, I think I looked at the average a while back, and I think most gamers are now, average about 30 years old.
Yeah. Yeah.
So the biggest population of gamers is about 30. So people look at the medium and they go, "Oh, well, gaming, that's just a, that's for kids."
Mm-hmm.
You know, and it's like, you don't know what the fuck you're talking about, you conservative asshole. Get out of my face.
I had that awakening as well, dude, a couple of weeks ago, and I was watching my favorite guy on Twitch. Little shout out for Visions, and I was watching him, and I was like, I've been watching him for a while, and I just said, so, like, can I ask what's the average age of people watching? And one guy was like, I'm 27. This other guy was like, I'm 24. This other guy was like, damn, I'm 33. This other guy was like, fuck, I'm 42. And then there was a woman, and she was like, yeah, I'm 36, and I'm 30. And I was like, holy God, I've found the holy grail. What's going on here? But no. It's not just his channel. Dude, the 30-year-olds run things on Twitch. I am totally serious with you, dude. Honest to God. It's like... I mean, there's a few channels you go to where it's really toxic, and you can tell that there's just a bunch of teenagers in there. But a lot of the people I watch, like Dr. Disrespect, has a lot of older... Because he's an older guy. And he has a lot of people our age group watching, man. There's a lot of people our age group on Twitch. It's just, we own it. We run it. Every single one, dude. We're all moderators, and we're all fucking everything on everywhere.
You know, and I want to go back, okay? I want to take a step back and say that I'm not dissing young gamers. I encourage people to take it to the medium, but it's not looked at like a hobby. Is my point? It's
a legitimate hobby.
It's seen as a toy. And I feel like there's a big difference, and it's not legitimate. It's seen as something that, because back in the day it was created for children, like the initial platformers, the days of Mario and the days of the mascots. You know, that was created for children. That stigma has kind of stuck to it. That's the way people see it.
There is stigma for PC gaming as well. When I tell people I play on PC. Like for me, what it looks like for me is people treat me like I'm wasting my time, and it's not a legitimate hobby. Whereas if I was outside and trying to carve chunks in a shape out of a tree, that's a legitimate fucking hobby.
Yeah, like staring at a screen is bad.
Yeah, that's not testing my reflexes and pitting my skill and wit and tactics against 99 other people in a lobby is not a legitimate hobby. But sitting with a telescope and staring at the stars is.
And this might throw us into a different topic by accident, but just going into the stigmas of gaming in general. One of the things that really stands out to me is that because there's that stigma of that video games only apply to children, we run into this issue where now there's violent video games and children are being exposed to those. So those go hand in hand.
But
like,
that's down to us as a parent not to expose your child to
well,
it.
I know, but what I'm saying is that people are like, oh no, kids are being exposed to violent video games, and people don't understand that the majority of the gaming community now is adults, people anywhere from 23 to 40 years old.
Yeah.
So they're like, oh no, you know, and they're looking at this, and every fucking violent event that happens. Do you guys remember the Manhunt murderer?
Oh yeah, I remember the Manhunt games.
Do you remember the case that went with it? Hold on, I'm gonna go shut a door. I'll be right back.
I believe I do.
I've got a little South African story to throw in after this. Because it's the same sort of concepts where basically it's a case of,
all right,
you know, they just kind of, right. I was just gonna, sorry if I'm stealing your limelight, but it's a case of, you know, because like even if it could be in the most minor form, because serial killer X played video games, that's automatically the reason why they went on a murderous rampage.
No. You're making the exact point that I was gonna make. But do you guys remember the case behind the Manhunt game? Like there was this basically, I'll just summarize it, okay? There was this kid that murdered his friend, okay? And he did it with it was a hammer. He murdered his friend with a hammer, okay?
Yeah, I remember.
And they put it in the media that it was because he had played the game Manhunt. So the case took on the name the Manhunt murder case. So they tried him, and they made all this negative media. Come to find out, dude, the guy who committed the murder was not the kid who owned the game. The kid who owned the game was the dude who was killed. So they reported it fucking backwards. And they placed all the... And I'm not saying that Manhunt is necessarily a fucking child-appropriate game, okay? It's a fucked up game. Not. It's a fucked up game. But my point is that they took the chance to point at the industry, at a hobby that I enjoy, and just throw it, you know, throw dirt on it just because. For the sake of fucking report, we need to find something to blame, is basically what it boils down to.
Yeah.
Or remember, here's another example. Remember when Mass Effect came out, and Fox News reported it as an alien sex simulator?
Yeah.
You guys remember that?
Yeah.
I mean, this actually happened, and they were saying that BioWare had developed a game about having sex with aliens, and there was full frontal nudity, and but
they're not lying though. They are sensationalizing it a little bit, but that is largely the truth. Let's be honest.
They made it into.
Let's first be honest. All BioWare games are just sex simulators.
Okay, dude. But my point is that there's a short, maybe 2-minute FMV scene of your character having sex over a period of a 60-hour RPG. Okay.
Yeah, but
that is
Mass
over.
Effect 2. Then we get to Mass Effect 2, and how many FMV sex scenes are there in Mass Effect 2? Bear in mind, you can now sleep. No, but you can sleep with... No, there's one for every race.
Yes.
And then for every sex in every race as well.
There is, but you can only romance one character at a time. So for every 60-hour playthrough, you only get one cutscene, my point is that it doesn't... It's not the basis of the game.
No.
The basis of the point of the game is not to rape alien women or to whatever the fuck they were going for with that fucking or fucking alien men. I think you can romance Garrus too. I don't even fucking remember, bro.
I'm dying here.
Speaking of which, like almost everything. I mean, I know. Have you played the Mass Effect games, Steve?
Of them, yes. They were not the pornos I was led to believe they were.
No, I'm just saying though that like almost everything Garrus said, no matter what sex you were played as in the game, always sounded like he was coming on to you.
Yeah.
It almost always fell.
No, but, and now that's the thing. This is what this is. So they did sensationalize it, yes, but I have to be really honest and say that with apart from actually Andromeda, not so much, but all of the other three definitely felt like I was being pushed towards get it on with them. Like, I definitely felt like there were strong guides in conversations that were like, where she was definitely, and it was definitely saying to me,
true,
maybe you should.
True.
And I'm like, look, I'm not, and I'll be honest with you, like.
But it wasn't a porno. That's my point. Is that it was if you watch the report, they make it sound like you're fucking using your mouse to stroke back and forth so you can go in and out. It's like
a quick time event.
Yeah.
I've got a comment here.
Hold on, let me click the nut button up here.
Bust a nut button.
Spacebar.
So, Tux McBases, am I hearing this? If you said to me this morning I would be listening to a podcast about alien rape this evening, I would not have believed you.
That's
It's the Mass Effect games, whether or not they are slightly, whether they do lead you on a little bit, or
they
maybe...
do have they are sexualized. That's true. I will agree with you. They are sexualized, and they do encourage you. They do encourage you to take a partner. All right.
So I'll tell you, I didn't enjoy it, and I always steered away from it. I didn't want to have those scenes, not because I don't want to see it or anything like that, but to me, I don't find that immersive in a video game. That doesn't, being able to have a relationship with a person, doesn't give me any more immersion, if you understand me. I found it a bit. I didn't need it. I didn't want it there.
Yeah. Personally, I think it more often than not, it just comes across as very cringy.
Now that was what I was getting to, yeah.
Because I don't think it really represents. I don't think it represents. That's maybe one level of games where it hasn't quite captured how relationships are in real life.
I disagree, dude. Dry rubbing in underwear on Dragon Age Inquisition was the peak of my gaming career.
You reckon?
No, I was fucking joking, guys. Come on, that awkward silence. Y'all made me blush just a little bit.
Dude, I was gonna get to that, of how in Dragon Age Origins you can. I'm calling bullshits with your only romancing one at a time. Dragon Age Inquisition, I mean Origins, you can bang everyone at once.
Yeah, we were talking about Mass Effect, not Dragon Age, homie.
Yeah, but it's still BioWare. And shut up. Let me finish.
All sex in video games is cringy.
Yeah, especially Road to Hell Retribution. They don't even take their clothes off, bro.
What were you going to say, Chris?
No, I was just going to say, like, in Origins, they give you the option to basically bang everyone at once, but the sex scenes are the most cringy, awful, pathetic things ever.
Yeah. No, but what that gets to me is you have to look at scenes like that, and that's what the developer thinks you want to see. So now what this says to me is the gaming community is populated, either populated by people who make me feel physically sick with some of the things that they're demanding in video games, or B, the publishers / developers have got it so wrong.
Dude.
Because they think we're idiots that want to see a flash of side boob, bit of rock music, a car doing a wheel spin. Bob, there you go.
Yeah, basically characters in their underpants, like dry humping.
You just described the perfect game to me.
It's characters in their underpants dry humping to the sax intro to Careless Whisper.
Yeah. I wanna know what love is. Something like that.
Yeah.
Softly in the background.
Yeah.
So
but also, just a fun little fact, and I might actually need to be fact checked on it, but I do recall when Fallout 4 came out, someone put out a stat that, and it could have been faked, but I just think it was pretty funny. They put out stats that on Fallout 4's release day, Pornhub's user user base dropped for like 65% for the next 2 days after launch.
Wow.
Someone may have to fact check that for me, but that's so maybe.
Well, I know the user base dropped in Hawaii when the fake missile launch happened. Oh, people were like, "Fuck this." But you know what's funny? You know what's funny about that? So like 16%, I think it was 16%. You don't have to fact check me on that, Chris. I think it was 16% of people continued to use Pornhub in Hawaii after the missile launch. So at least 16% of Hawaii's population was like, you know what? Fuck this. I'm going to go ahead and nut. I'm going to finish. This is going to be my last outing.
So Al Rao says that sex sells in general, though. Which cannot be argued with, and Tuck says, which this is an angle that I hadn't considered, and I'm entirely willing to accept this. Surely the relationship angle in games is a logical progression. They have simulated just about everything else. There has to be new ground to cover. And then Al Rao added, Star may or may not have a gay dating anime on her phone. Cheeky.
Sorry, guys. I stepped away again. Having a
no worries. We didn't miss you or anything.
Oh, okay. Well, repeat the question so I want to give my opinion.
No, but I just want to point out that if Tux is to be believed, then Steve, you should be all up in that shit. More progression systems for you.
Yeah. I'm willing to, like, the completionist part of you, I suppose.
So then, Steve, when can Ray and I expect you to play some anime dating sims with us?
Bro, no. This game is not an anime dating sim. This is it's fucked up. It's fucking with me. I hate this game.
I'll play a dating sim with you. One of that book club game didn't really grab me much.
No, dude,
I'll play a dating sim with you, and I'll smash all them pasties.
No, dude. There's something fucked up going on in this game. There's something fucked up going on in this game, and like you'll see as the episodes progress. I almost had a heart attack. I almost had a fucking heart attack last time we played it, bro.
So just to basically wrap it up, after the last recording session that Ray and I had, once we wrapped up and we said goodbye, that was probably like the most mediocre, like, oh, okay, bye, talk later, that we've ever had.
Oh, no.
I kid you not, for the next 2 hours after that, I walked around feeling what I can only compare to like a minor case of depression.
Seriously?
It's awful. Dude. It's awful, Steve. It's awful.
Damn, man. Because like PUBG sends me down on a downward spiral sometimes, but I play on my own against squads of 4 and stuff like that, and some of the stuff that happens to me is just disgusting. And sometimes I end up just sitting back and thinking, what is life? What am I doing? But that's the only game. This PUBG is the only game that's ever done that. Like, I can't imagine any other game, like a dating simulator or something like that. I can't imagine.
Well,
I just laugh at it.
I'm gonna tell you why. I'm gonna tell you why it does that. Is because it takes a very, like, it's too real, bro. It takes a very real approach to depression. And it hits home, dude. It's like it's way too. It's almost too realistic. Like they need to stop. Like at some point, you're just like you need to stop.
It's far too relatable as well.
You need to stop because they represent this person who suffers from depression as somebody who actually is depressed. Like it feels real. I don't know how better to describe it. It's weird. It caught me off guard because it looks like a cutesy fucking anime game. I expected some weeb bullshit, and I got dick slapped. Deep. I got dick slapped in the face. I got a purple bruise on my head in the shape of a mushroom.
Well,
anyways.
I think we ought to move on to another subject.
This is my favorite one, if it's the one I think it is. I'm ready for this.
Activision, Blizzard.
Oh.
announced they made $4 billion from microtransactions last year.
And we're back to microtransactions.
This is just a quick one. And by comparison, EA made 787 million.
Now, I am not defending Activision Blizzard, but half of that, 2 billion, is from mobile games.
I thought you were going to say from you.
I thought you were going to say from Overwatch. Like, I'm not defending Blizzard, but half of it was from Overwatch.
No. Half of that is from mobile games like Candy Crush, because Blizzard does in some small way own Candy Crush.
Yeah.
Blizzard owns Candy Crush?
They own something. It's all backwash water. I don't know.
Subsidiary companies and stuff like that.
Dude, $170 something million is not backwash.
Just shut up and put it in the X-Files. So that other 2 billion, though, I mean, again, comparing that to EA is still a shit ton of money.
Yeah.
I could live the rest of my life happily on that amount of money.
I could live the rest of my life happily on probably 100th of that.
I think you're shooting too low, Chris. You need to have big visions.
I'm an African prince. I do not need much.
Yeah, that's Chris's new thing, Steve. He texts me like every day and says, "Hey, I'm trapped in Africa. I'm a prince. I need I'm your long lost cousin. Can I get can I get $100,000 donation so I can move up to the state?" No, he goes, "Can I have your information?"
Yeah.
So I can send you.
I need to smuggle money out of my country.
Yeah, I need to send you $100,000. Can you give me your social security information?
Oh. Well, shall we skip briefly on to the next topic then?
I have about 15 more minutes.
15 more minutes. Okay, well let's do the one you want to talk about, which I know is Spyro the Dragon.
Oh
okay,
my
but
God.
just to quickly end on Activision Blizzard, 4 billion loot boxes. Go to hell, you piece of shit.
I'm sorry.
Spyro the Dragon.
Let's talk about the Spyro the Dragon remake and whether or not each of us agrees with remakes individually. What's your overall take on remakes or remasters, if you want to call it? So you go first, Ray, because I know you like this one.
I'm for remakes.
Okay.
If it's a game that has a cult following and it has something to bring to a newer so a newer generation can experience the nostalgia or why we liked, because not everybody's going to go back and play polygonal games, you know, at this day and age. Like, people who grew up with good graphics are gonna, they look at some people are gonna look at those games and be like, you know, some people just don't like dated games. But basically, I'm for remakes if it's a good quality remake, but I am not for HD remasters.
Right.
I feel like remastering a game is a different. I want to define the difference, because remastering a game is taking the same assets, same game, and you're just changing the resolution.
You're bumping up the resolution of the textures.
Yeah, you're just bumping up the resolution. A remake is kind of what they did with Resident Evil 1.
Oh.
Where they completely built the game, or with Crash Bandicoot Insane Trilogy, where they took
Wait.
What?
Is that me?
What?
Oh my God.
Did Chris go robot?
Wait, you guys have gone all weird.
Oh no. All right, I say we hang up and come back.
Oh my God. Wait, I have to. My Discord's gone weird. Can you hear it? Wait, guys, just hold on. My Discord's gone weird.
All right.
Hello?
Sorry
I can hear
that.
Chris now. We all just needed to hang up and come back. Discord fucks up after so many. So, anyways,
we're at a payphone trying to phone home.
Yeah, you were saying? Hello?
Yeah. Sorry,
You were saying?
my daughter's bothering me.
Oh,
But
sorry.
can you guys give me a second?
Yeah. How do you feel about remakes, Chris? Oh no.
That's how I feel.
Oh, there we go.
How do I feel about remakes? You see, it's very hard for me to tell because a point I was thinking of bringing up is with my age, Ray's lucky because Ray's I think how old is Ray now? 24, 25. We'll ask him when he gets back.
Yeah.
But basically, I missed out on basically the first Polygon generation. I just missed it. So basically, my childhood was PlayStation 2 and thereon. So I don't. So remasters and remakes don't really matter that much to me. Because also like a lot of the games that I grew up playing still look all right, and also unfortunately for me, like with the Spyro the Dragon, I never got to play the original. The only one I ever played was one of the ones that came out on PlayStation 2.
Oh, you uncultured swine!
I know. And also like I missed basically some of the better Crash Bandicoots because again I only got to play the later ones that came out on the PlayStation 2. So it's not so basically when I think Spyro the Dragon, I think of the really average one that I played and not this original great one. So I'm not missing out.
Well, you're gonna play the remake then by order of Ray.
So for I did play the original one and I enjoyed it. Like I said to you before, I wasn't really into platform games at all. And then just one day, I went to my sister's and I stopped over the night at my sister's, and her fella had a PlayStation, whichever one was relevant at the time, and he was playing Spyro, and we talked about it, and I was like, no. Even when I went from I had a NES and then I had a Dreamcast and stuff like that, I didn't really play Sonic. Not much, because I've never been into platform games.
Yeah.
Spyro, that was some good ass shit, man.
Well, I just wanted to finish my thought.
Is it gone again?
What's going on?
Oh my God, it's gone again. Hold on.
This Sorry, guys. We're experiencing technical difficulties. Oh, no. Gonna have to reboot Discord. Hold on, ladies and gentlemen. I'm working on it. I am working on it. Everybody's gone dark. No!
Oh, hello?
Oh! Oh, it's a miracle!
That's weird. Discord was saying awaiting endpoint.
I got the same thing, dude. Weird! I was trying to entertain people with my voice. And it doesn't work.
Thanks very much for that, Discord. Thank you very much for that. Appreciate that.
People were probably quitting on me. They're like everybody else. All the entertaining people left the stream. All that's left is Saywolf.
I don't know what it is. Discord pooping out, man. It's weird that.
Yeah, I know.
Weird.
Dude. Yeah. Just for next time, let's think about using maybe Blizzard's BattleNet. Because we always seem to have good. Me and Chris always seem to have really good luck with Battle.net. Yeah, just the chat service.
Okay, we'll have a look at that next time.
And also, what we can then do is we can then use. No, you can't finish. we can then use the little Blizzard chat thing. It's got little emote loot boxes. We can do that together.
I've been looking forward to finishing my thought on Spyro the Dragon. For the past 10 minutes,
gives a single fuck.
This is the subject I wanted to talk about.
Oh look, it's time to end the stream.
No, I'm all for another Spyro. I'm all for it. And remakes and stuff like that, they're okay. I just think you have to be wise because, again, I refer back to something I said very early on in the stream about cash cow games. And that's all remasters and remakes are.
Well, see, this is where I was going with it, though. It's being done in the same vein as Crash Insane Trilogy. And it's being done by the same company, Vicarious Visions. So I think with the new Spyro coming out, with the old Spyro remastered coming out, I feel like we can expect something of better quality. I think we're looking at something that's going to come out and it's not going to be misrepresentative of what the original was. And I am hyped as shit. Like when I saw the video, I squeed like a little girl. Can you guys say something so I don't feel so awkward?
I'm listening. I'm listening to you. The fact that you feel like a little girl sounds like a huge you problem, really.
I was like, I did the little shaking the fist thing, you know how like when you bring your elbows close to your body and like you stand up for a minute and you like grit your teeth together and you're like,
you weirdo.
That was the extent of my excitement. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it. Knowing what they did with the Crash Insane Trilogy, you know. By the way, it's a little bit of self-promotion. If you want to see some funny shit, go to my channel and check out my wife playing Crash Insane Trilogy. It's funny, I promise. At least it was to me, while I was there recording her and making her mad on purpose.
and also on the topic of remasters and stuff, another particularly cool topic is
that's Say Wolf's channel right there.
Yeah, well there you go. But another particularly cool topic besides remasters is retro games basically made today. And Steve's got a pretty cool video on a game called Hellbound. It's really worth checking out.
Yeah, dude, that game looks fun, but I'm not quite ready to invest any money into it yet because I feel like it only has that one mode, which is survival. And I feel like I would get bored. I mean, the graphics, the sound quality, the fucking soundtrack, dude, the soundtrack. I mean, everything is reminiscent of Doom, like when Doom first came out.
Much so. Yeah, very much so. It's like playing Doom but being able to look up and down. That's why now you know why I called it like the 90s but better, because I can look up and down.
Yeah.
But so one of the things I noticed about that, I was sent a key for that game. I was sent a key for another game recently as well. I've got to play soon, called Bike Garage Mechanic Simulator, and it's really cool. But I was sent a key for these games quite often. If I get sent a key for a game, the key says such and such for beta testing. Like Vermintide 2. The key for that says Vermintide 2 for beta testing. This Hellbound game, that just says Hellbound. So I think every now and then, with some of them you get given it's what's called a god key, and it's basically a key that is the full game, but the game's literally in its first stages. So you're in at the very first stage of closed testing, and that's why you go through NDAs and stuff like that, and then it goes through a beta, and then an open beta, and then there'll be like fucking a demo on Steam and all that kind of stuff. And so I'm just hoping that this Hellbound turns out to be one of those god keys, because I want to see a campaign for it and everything. Definitely. Let me just pop that gameplay on the screen while I'm there, actually, because I've got that. If you want to see that Hellbound gameplay, I've got some of it out here. I'll get that through, and there you go, so you can see some of it now. It's really, 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 really good.
It is. I recommend it. Hold on.
Incredible. It's got you can change it to third person and stuff like that as well. It's odd.
I can't imagine playing a game like that in third person. I think it'll be
that sounds a bit nauseating.
So there's a lot of motion blur on the game though that I couldn't turn off. But yeah, it is good. I enjoyed it very much.
Isn't that why they're giving away keys though, so they can get some
promotion? Yeah, free promotion.
Feedback, whatever.
Yeah.
Also, can we just take a moment to talk about games that do not let you turn off motion blur? Because who even uses, like, the first thing I do when I go into a game is I turn that right off.
Yep.
Motion blur. Who needs
Like I
motion
say-
blur?
Blur, that shit goes right off.
It's right at the start of production, though, isn't it? So I would imagine that will be off at some point. The
Well,
way
you
his
know-
ponytail flaps in the wind.
It's just designed to kill any technical issues, like so that you don't
Yeah.
notice, so that you know.
The only thing
like,
it's
when you're
designed
turning-
to kill
so
is your
things-
frame rate.
Well, you know, if your internet were faster.
There's no graphical settings in it whatsoever. None whatsoever. Oh my god, get wrecked. Dab on him. Do a little dab.
Dab on him. Yeah. You can dab if you want to. You can leave this world behind.
You can leave
Because
that
if you
meme
don't
behind.
dab, if you don't dab, and if you don't dab, then you're no friends of mine. There we go.
Wow. I haven't heard that for a while.
That's
So
the
what,
best
I think we've
version,
got-
guaranteed.
We have got one topic left if you've got the time, or have you got to call it?
5 minutes. Let's go.
5 minutes.
Woo!
Okay, let's go. Google is making a console.
Oh,
It's gonna be shit.
An early
there we go. Stream over.
An early
Bye.
name is Project Yeti, and it's basically a game streaming service along the lines of Sony PS Now and Nvidia GeForce.
No. Dude,
So
I've
the
tried-
question is, do we need another streaming service, a game streaming service?
Dude, game streaming service is not developed enough to work yet.
They're not even relevant, are they? People
it
want their
just-
own
it
hardware, I think.
It just does not work, and the reason is because you can only stream games that are aged, because of the hardware requirements, and at this point they don't have the capacity to stream above 30 frames per second.
There we go.
So you're streaming games that are from the early PS3 era back, and you're not even being able to play the games in high quality. You have to play them in mediocre quality. So we just haven't reached the point to be able to stream games. I don't think that's a good investment for Google, in my opinion. I think if they want to get into the console war, I think that they need to make a proper console that plays proper games.
Can I tell you what I think?
What?
I agree with you, but I think it's higher up than hardware. It's infrastructure. Until everybody has a 1 gigabyte per second internet connection as a utility bill, and
Chris?
not as and this is what I'm saying, till the
sorry.
standard, until every house has a minimum 1 gigabyte per second internet connection, and that's as important as your water and your electricity. And that's what I mean by a utility bill. So everybody, then there's no point having that kind of stuff. But even then,
Well, that's
who
the
wants
set-
to be told that they can't play a game just because their internet's off?
Chris?
Well, that's not. Yeah, but you can still play games offline, can't you? Like your Steam library works. You got offline games.
That is a huge issue. Let's go back to what we were talking about, like the industry as a whole. I feel like I appreciate a game that does not require to be connected to the internet 24/7.
Yeah.
I appreciate that.
Same here.
I miss those days. I miss the days of when a game could be released and it was complete. There
Yeah,
was no
both are full
fucking
of shit.
there was no fucking day one patches. There was no, if a game was shit when it came out, it was shit, and you didn't play it. You know, people.
I
Yeah.
love nothing more than a 10 gigabyte patch on a day one release. Makes me that should go right into my downloads. I giggle with glee as I walk away from my computer for the next 4 hours.
Dude, and it's nothing against online games. Like I said, you know, I like playing Overwatch with Chris. I like playing
Yeah.
PUBG with you,
I'm glad
Steve.
you do.
No,
I
there's a
don't.
difference between an online multiplayer and there's a difference between an online multiplayer and a game that requires an online connection.
Well, it's what happened with SimCity when it came out.
Yeah.
You know, we've discussed this before, but I mean, you know, they had some kind of online, like they had to have the game online all the time, and people basically fucking ragged on the game because it's
DRM,
like it's a single player game, dude. It's a single. Why does it have to be online?
Anti-piracy, that's why.
What?
That's why. Checking in online all the time to make sure that your copy's legit.
Well, I'm gonna tell you this right now. It doesn't matter, because pirates are going to find a way around that. I mean, there's
always.
It doesn't matter what new antivirus you come up with, what new
Hashtag de nouveau.
What new everything you come up with. The whole point is that they're constantly trying to work past that. You know, they're trying to work past.
I'm in Ubisoft.
People are trying to work past the anti-cheat. People are trying to work past the
always.
And it's a constant struggle, dude. So, I mean, there's no good way. What companies need to do, therefore, and I'm not saying that anti-cheat and stuff like that shouldn't be implemented, but they need to learn to rely more on their honest customer base.
Yeah.
Because there are people out there who are willing to support. I mean, look at fucking EA, dude. They fucked us in the ass, and like they still made profits off of fucking Star Wars Battlefront. So, go figure.
That's it. It's just numbers to them. That's all. And not enough numbers is bad. Less or the same amount of numbers as last year is bad. It's always got to be more numbers than last year. And if it's not, then well, fucking woe betide you. Bang goes your job, and we'll find another way to get it from those fat fucks.
Yeah, let's fire Kojima. That'll work. Good job, guys.
We solved it. We solved the gaming industry. Fire Kojima, and that fixes everything.
Y'all are fucking geniuses. I'm gonna give you a.
All I really wanted after that was a bit of like where it shows Metal Gear Survive gameplay and then zooms out. Kojima is there playing Metal Gear Survive, and he just looks at the screen and zooms on his face, and he's like, "Did you like it?"
Oh god! Oh my god! Oh my god!
Dude, that would be like a crazy twist, though. What if Kojima was actually involved in the creation of Metal Gear Survive?
It's all he's doing.
Dude,
it was all him.
Dude, someone needs to sneak into like one of the top dog like shareholder meetings at Konami, and the head, the guy who owns 51%, is Kojima.
Guy who has final stamp on all decisions, Kojima.
He fired himself.
Yeah.
That's so Kojima, though.
It is, though. That is the funny part about it. That's something he would do to make like promotional material or some shit. This has been a good stream, gentlemen. Despite our few technical difficulties and little things that we had to go through, it's been a lot of fun. I unfortunately have to go to work now, and I feel like we covered all of our topics, right?
Yeah, we did. We hit them all.
Anyways, guys,
we did good.
This has been Saywolf1, Mr. Ixlight, and Last Life doing the One Hit Power Up live stream monthly. Tune in next month for some more interesting conversation topics and hopefully some laughs. And we will see you guys next time.
I'm just happy to be here.
Yeah.
Yay! All right. Peace out.
Peace.
Peace.